LeBron James has arguably garnered more media coverage than any other athlete in history. He's undoubtedly one of the most successful and widely known athletes of the 21st century, so it comes with the territory. Throughout his career, he has been the subject of seemingly infinite non-basketball news stories. As you may already know, LeBron is kind of a weird guy. However, the purpose of this video is not to analyze or disparage LeBron as a person, but rather to examine the relationship he's had with different types of media. Throughout the semester, I've noticed that in many of the concepts we've covered, there are moments from LeBron's career that directly fall into these categories. In this video, I'll be going through various news events involving LeBron James and connecting them to different ideas from David Minich's Just the Facts, Daniel Borstein's The Image, and Like War by P.W. Singer and Emerson T. Brooking, as well as other concepts that were elaborated in class. Due to his massive notoriety and leverage of his platform, LeBron's career has embodied the social media age and exemplified certain media concepts. In Just the Facts, Mindich outlines Daniel Hallen's three spheres model of objectivity, which illustrates how the public perceives certain ideas and how it can be transformed over time. The innermost sphere is consensus, ideas that every group can agree on. The outermost sphere is deviance, ideas that nearly every group rejects, and the middle sphere is legitimate controversy, which are ideas that spark debate and have supporters and dissenters. Over time, an idea can go from consensus to controversy to deviance, and vice versa. In February of 2017, a trivial example of this phenomenon hit the NBA, when Kyrie Irving, then teammate of LeBron James in Cleveland, told the media he believes that the earth is flat. Irving would later try to play these comments off as a kind of social experiment or joke on the media, but eventually apologized for the ordeal. At the height of the controversy, LeBron weighed in, saying, "Kyrie's my little brother. If he decides the earth is flat, that's okay." While he obviously didn't agree with Kyrie's theory, he didn't condemn it either. There is already a growing number of people who call themselves flat earthers, and the idea is dangerously close to the sphere of legitimate controversy. LeBron James, a man who has international fame and influence among young people, played a role in publicizing an absurd myth. Though his response was minimal, he implies that it's a reasonable position, which inevitably has an effect on public opinion, however marginal. For a brief time in the NBA, the shape of the earth became legitimate controversy, with people like Shaquille O'Neal and Draymond Green taking Irving's side, though most of the reactions were sarcastic and lighthearted. Now, let's rewind to 2010.
In this fall, I'm going to take my talents to South Beach.
If you've paid attention to professional sports in any capacity over the last decade, you've probably seen this clip before. It's one of the most iconic and controversial sports moments in recent memory, and it was a pseudo-event. Simply referred to as the decision, this was one of the most highly anticipated moments in sports history, despite not being an actual sporting event. Following weeks of speculation, it was announced that on Thursday, July 8, 2010, ESPN would host a 75-minute special. This was completely unheralded in the NBA landscape for a free agent, and it undoubtedly generated more publicity than any other free agent decision in sports history. More recently, LeBron was at the center of controversy for his comments regarding Houston Rockets general manager Daryl Morey, who tweeted and later deleted an image with the slogan, quote, "Fight for freedom, stand with Hong Kong," end quote, in support of mass protests over a proposed bill that would allow Hong Kong's government to extradite criminal suspects to China. Morey's tweet jeopardized the NBA's relationship with China, and Chinese NBA broadcasts and events were suspended. When asked for his take on the situation, LeBron was critical of Morey's tweet, calling him, quote, "misinformed" about the consequences of the tweet, which led to further controversy. Amazingly, this situation exemplifies ideas from Just the Facts, The Image, and Like War. It's another example of an issue going from the sphere of consensus to legitimate controversy. It was mostly agreed upon within the U.S. that Morey's stance was noble and correct, only that it was counterproductive for business interests. With LeBron's statement, he appeared to be taking China's side in the matter, or at the very least, prioritizing financial interest over human rights, which was upsetting to a lot of people given his previous track record on social issues. He'd later clarify on Twitter that he wasn't referring to the substance of the issue in Hong Kong, but the damage had already been done, and people on Twitter were already posting memes of LeBron as Mao Zedong. We also see parallels in this situation and the concept of simulacra that's indicated in The Image and more specifically outlined by Jean Baudrillard. After LeBron's comments, several opinion pieces were published, nearly all of them critical of James. In this case, the media was responding to LeBron's response to the NBA and China's response to Daryl Morey's tweet about protests in response to a proposed government policy. That's count it, 5 separations from the original point of controversy. Trying to understand all the aspects of the story was so nauseating and unlikely, it became impossible to distinguish reality from imagination, as if we were all living in a simulation. Finally, this ordeal shows how social media has become so influential, to the point that tweets from NBA players and executives have consequences of global proportions. This is one of the points that's evident in Like War, that social media has grown more powerful than we could have imagined. Speaking of Like War, LeBron James' social media presence has always been massive, but in 2017, he had the biggest moment of his online career. After the NBA champion Golden State Warriors declined to visit the White House in September, President Trump tweeted that he was rescinding the offer. About 5 hours later, LeBron weighed in with a legendary response, tweeting, quote, "You bum, at Steph Curry already said he ain't going, so therefore ain't no invite. Going to White House was a great honor until you showed up. In doing so, he employed three elements of the social media values presented in the like war: authenticity, community, and emotion. So it's no surprise that the tweet ended up as the most retweeted athlete tweet of 2017 with nearly 600,000. However, this wouldn't be the last social media interaction between the two. A year later, after LeBron appeared on CNN for an interview with anchor Don Lemon, Trump finally got back to LeBron. He sent out another tweet, this time insulting the intelligence of both James and Lemon. Trump would, once again, receive widespread condemnation for the tweet, and LeBron would later give a more refined response in an interview with The Hollywood Reporter, saying, quote, "What bothers me is that he even has time to do that. He has the most powerful job in the world. Like, you really got this much time that you can comment on me?" The entire saga was unbelievable, and it was shocking to see the President of the United States having a Twitter beef with the most famous athlete in the world. This was quite literally a social media war, and I'm sure that Katie Turk could relate with LeBron. As a basketball player, LeBron is undoubtedly one of the greatest, but off the court, he's used his platform quite unlike any other athlete we've ever seen. With help from people in his circle like Maverick Carter and Rich Paul, he's produced TV shows, funded a school in his hometown, founded a sports programming network, and invested in businesses. Though sometimes he ends up in bizarre situations that are usually his fault, he has been the prototypical athlete for the digital age and has utilized social media, philanthropy, and business savviness to create opportunities for athletes on an unprecedented level. For so many of the concepts we've learned in class, there's likely been a moment in LeBron's career to exemplify it. No other athlete has generated more headlines throughout their career, and we'll probably never see anyone like him again, both as a player and as a public figure.